The mid-season patch brought a ton of huge weapon buffs, one of the biggest being the buffs to sidearms. Every sidearm in the game got a 20% damage increase versus red and orange bar enemies. This of course also applies to exotic sidearms, which were already dealing 40% more damage against minor enemies to begin with. This has led to a ton of underused weapons and exotics becoming much more viable now. But I haven't seen anyone talk about the Traveler's Chosen. This exotic sidearm is dealing much more damage now, but it also has an incredible toolkit baked directly into the weapon itself. For those who are unfamiliar, Traveler's Chosen has the intrinsic perk Gathering Light, where final blows with this weapon grant stacks of Gathering Light up to a max of 10. Paired with the intrinsic trait Gift of the Traveler, each stat grants increased reload, handling, and target acquisition. But more importantly, you can hold reload at any time to consume all of your stacks and grant yourself grenade, melee, and class ability energy. This makes Traveler's Chosen an ability regenerating machine, and paired with the right setup, it can really crank an ability focused build up to 11. I'm pairing this with one of my favorite Void Warlock builds using Controverse Hold, and it quite literally allows me to have unlimited supercharged grenades going at all times. But Traveler's Chosen has even more to offer with its exotic Catalyst. The Catalyst grants +3 to the magazine, but it also grants the weapon the Surplus and Osmosis perks. Surplus grants us even more reload, handling, and stability based on how many abilities we currently have. But the real champion here is Osmosis. Whenever we use our grenade, it will convert Traveler's Chosen to the damage type that matches our subclass. Pairing this perk with a Void subclass this season just makes sense, as we currently have Volatile Flow on our artifact, which means Traveler's Chosen can be pumping out volatile rounds on top of everything else that it already brings to the table. The only downside to Osmosis is that it does have some weird interactions with weapon surge mods currently, and can have some inconsistencies with the damage buff actually working, but I assume this is a bug that Bungie is aware of, since the exotic shotgun from the raid suffers from a similar issue. That being said, you would want to use something like a Void Siphon mod on your helmet after using Osmosis, as that will still allow you to generate orbs from getting multi-kills with Traveler's Chosen. But besides all of that, we also have anti-barrier sidearm this season as well, meaning we can deal with barrier champions easily and also have the convenience of piercing straight through failing shields and hobgoblins when they're regenerating. I do highly recommend turning on the full auto setting in game, as it makes the weapon much easier to use as well. Traveler's Chosen is a 300 RPM sidearm, which means it doesn't have the highest possible DPS of all the sidearm archetypes, but even glancing at this graph from Mossy Max over on Twitter, shout out to him, we can see that exotic sidearms in general, even without a damage buff, are capable of some of the highest DPS versus minor enemies in the game. All in all, this sidearm is pretty cracked now for any grenade focused build, and like I mentioned earlier in the video, I currently use this on Void Warlock. Let me know if you guys want a more in-depth breakdown of the full build in another video, but the gist of it is using Controverse Hold with Vortex grenades and the Chaos Accelerant aspect. This lets us supercharge our grenades, and Controverse Hold will refund half of our grenade instantly whenever it hits a target. Paired with Traveler's Chosen, as well as things like Grenade Kickstart and Innervation, we basically have unlimited grenades. You can also use Echo of Undermining to debuff everything that's hit by our grenades to give us an extra 15% damage from all sources. On top of all of this, Void Warlock is getting buffed next season as well. Nova Bomb is getting a 20% damage increase, and our Chaos Accelerant aspect is getting an additional fragment slot as well. Overall, guys, I'm not saying you're going to go dominate Grandmaster Nightfalls with this thing, but it is an incredibly potent build crafting tool that just saw some really nice buffs, and in the current season, paired with a Void subclass, it really does shred packs of enemies and is a very fun add clear primary weapon. Definitely pull it back out of the vault and give it another shot. It's really fun to use, and thanks to the buff, it doesn't hit like a wet noodle anymore. That's going to do it for the video. If you made it this far, a like and sub is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.